Good morning, Year 4. It's me, Mrs. Shaw, and it's Wednesday. It's the 13th of January. If you'd like to do your date and your title, you can have a go at the question on the right. Okay, so hopefully you got your title with the V circled for vocabulary for today. I've got under this box the conversation from the two people on the right. So first of all, it said rewrite the conversation using inverted commas, so speech marks. Alvin, however you said it, you might have said Alvin said. I've put open speech marks, capital letter. Do you want to go to the park? Question mark, close the speech marks because that's when he stops talking. And then I put Alvin asked as my speech word. And then a reply, I've put open speech marks, capital N to start the speech. No, my mum won't let me, exclamation mark, close the speech marks around the punctuation. Replied Toby. And then I've added an adverb, grumpily. Okay, so I need a comma, and then I'm going to put how he said it. So we've got a good idea about what Toby's thinking about that situation. Perfect. You may have also been able to reread your prediction from last lesson. If you haven't, pause me now and just reread what you thought might happen further on in the book, because in a moment we're going to carry on and we'll see if your prediction is correct. So pause me now if you haven't read your prediction from yesterday. Okay, let's carry on. We're going to read pages 17 to 28. And then we're going to go through those questions together. So we'll go through one by one. If you want to stop me and have a go before I tell you what the answer is, that's perfect. So I'll prompt you to do that when we get to that point. Okay. I just need to escape from this. We'll check that we're still recording, which we are. And what I've done today is open the text how you should see it if you open it with Bug Club, which is quite good. And we get the funny noises as well, which we didn't have before. So let's carry on. Chapter 3, Beowulf's band arrives. A few months passed. I successfully kept the noise down at the parties by a few raids, nipping in the bud any sign of a return to the rowdy behaviour of that first feast. I even began to enjoy myself, keeping the Danes on their toes. I did this by random attacks and making loud, scary noises at night that kept them lying awake in terror. All good, clean fun for a monster. So up here, nipping in the bud means stopping. Just wanted to keep them in check and keep them under control. Ooh, sound effects went on for a long time. I had to wait for that. Okay, let's carry on. I did not realise that they were secretly plotting against me. Those stupid Danes. Rather than get the message that they were not wanted in my neck of the woods, they went and called for reinforcements. Grr! How thick can they be? I saw the new men arrive. It was pure luck that I was on the spot when their ship came into sight. I had been doing a bit of fishing for eels down in a lovely little creek that runs into the ocean when I looked up and saw a great big wooden wall approaching. That couldn't be right. I rubbed the third of my bug eyes and looked again. I realised it was a huge ship with a high prow bearing down onto the beach with a scrunch and a crunch. I dived into the bushes and hid. A Dane ran forward from behind me, holding his sword in front of him. "Whoa, men! Who are you, and why do you come here dressed for battle?" he cried. I rolled my eyes. How idiotic can you get? If you think they are enemies, one man running up a beach with a puny sword isn't going to scare them off. You need someone like me for that. "Hail, friend!" shouted the leader of the new arrivals. "Bother, no battle on the beach, then," I sulked. "My name is Beowulf, chief of the Geats," continued the leader, "and I come in peace." I sneaked a look at this Geat. He was big. He was brawny. His armour had been polished so that it shone like a mirror. His helmet was decorated with boars' heads on the cheek guards. I sniggered. I guess that makes him pig-headed. I'm fond of big warriors, as they make a filling meal. Welcome to my land, Beowulf. I look forward to eating you later. Now this word is a bit funny. I said geats, so I think some places I've read that it's gayats. So you say that as an A sound and then an A sound, but it's up to you how you pronounce it. They're not around anymore, so they can't argue with you. Okay, next page. Wow, not the Beowulf, the winner of Best Warrior in West Denmark 3 years in a row, marvelled the Dane. Beowulf smiled and buffed his nails on the chainmail shirt. Not the Beowulf who slew the sea beast of South Sweden, continued the Dane. Not the Beowulf who was named most gorgeous Geat by Midgard Maiden magazine. 'Tis I. Beowulf struck a heroic pose, showing his best side to his admirer. I hear you had a spot of bother with a monster, and I've come to help. Oh, double wow. Our king will be so pleased to hear you have come to our rescue. I'll go and tell him right away. The Dane ran off in the direction of the hall. So I think in this version, Beowulf pretty much loves himself, but he might get taught a lesson. Beowulf turned his gaze on his followers who had gathered behind him on the beach. Now listen, men, we are here on a serious mission. Our task is to fight our toughest monster yet. I do not expect many of us will survive. A man at the back whimpered. Some of us will be eaten. 2 soldiers went green. Some will be crushed in wicked claws. The lucky ones among us will have our heads bitten off in one snap of the creature's ferocious jaws. The rest will die slow, gruesome deaths. A pale-faced man collapsed in a faint. But are we downhearted? No, came the feeble reply from 3 men still on their feet. That was not good enough for our hero. I'll ask you again, are we downhearted? No, the men shouted with more confidence. And I'll tell you why, because we are the bravest of the brave, the boldest of the bold. We are Beowulf's band. And then, to my horror, Grendel continues, he began to sing a song about beating beasts, swimming with sea monsters, and defeating devils. His men joined in after the first verse. I groaned and put my head in my paws. Not another bunch of musical wannabes. The sooner I put an end to their caterwauling, the better for everyone's ears. Beowulf had a date with fate that very night. Oh, good. I like that chapter. So, let me just check, because I've had this before. It stopped, and I've carried on talking, and nobody would be listening because it stopped on me. So it is still going. Let's just get rid of that one. Right, let's answer some questions. So if I read the first question and you want to have a go before I go through the answer, then pause me. Okay, so we'll go through question 1. On page 17, how did Grendel keep the Danes on their toes? What does on their toes mean? So we'll go back. We might have to put up with that noisy bit again when we go back to that page, but we'll skip through it. Oh, too far. 17. So on their toes, that's the bit we're looking for. And we're thinking about the vocabulary, what that means. It said, okay, so I even began to enjoy myself keeping the Danes on their toes. And then it carries on. I did this by random attacks and making loud, scary noises at night that kept them lying awake in terror. So he says, I want to keep them on their toes, and how he did it. So you have to know that keeping them on their toes is keeping them aware of him, okay, not letting them relax, because he wants them to be scared. And obviously they were scared because they ended up calling in for reinforcements, Beowulf and his men. So they were scared and they didn't like it. And he did that by keeping going with his scare tactics. Okay, so for your answer, you would put something like on their toes means Beowulf didn't let the men relax. He kept doing things to scare them. Okay, he didn't want them to sit back and be confident that they were safe. Okay, question 2. On page 18, what does plotting mean? Have a go yourself. Pause me now if you want to. We'll go back to the text. So it says 18, plotting. We're going to look for that word. Here we go. Right, it stopped. So plotting, you might know what plotting means, but sometimes it is quite good to reread the text and have a look through and put it into context, put it in its position so that we can read around it and understand it a bit better. So I did not realise that they were secretly plotting against me, those stupid Danes, and then it tells you what they were doing. Rather than getting the message that they were not wanted in my neck of the woods, they went and called for reinforcements. So plotting in this sense meant that they had a plan and they sent for reinforcements. So the plan of action was to get reinforcements, other people, other men to come and help. Okay, so if we go back to our question, we would write plotting means that the Danes had a plan, maybe to try and defeat Grendel. They had a plan to bring in reinforcements or other men to help them. So a plot is a plan. Let's go to question 3. On page 21, what was the effect of Grendel saying, "I look forward to eating you later"? So 21. There we go. This one. So it says right here at the end. So he's just done a big speech about how special he is and how amazing he is. And Grendel said, "I am fond of big warriors as they make a filling meal. Welcome to my land, Beowulf. I look forward to eating you later." So it says, if we reread the question, what was the effect of this? So what effect does that have? When you read, when you read, "I look forward to eating you later," what does that make you think? Well, for me, I think that's a bit of a cliffhanger. It makes me think, oh, he's looking forward to eating him later. So there's a bit of suspense because you might believe that Beowulf wants to eat. Grendel wants to eat Beowulf, but we don't know if that happens or not yet. So for my answer, I would put the effect of Grendel saying, "I look forward to eating you later," was that it left a cliffhanger and you didn't know if he would get to eat him or not. Let's go down. I think we've got just the last question. So question 4, on page 25, find a phrase or word which tells us the soldiers are nervous. So I'll give you a couple of seconds to find this. So 25, nervous soldiers, that's what we're thinking. And, oh no, sorry, page 25. Let's reread the question. Phrase or word which tells us the soldiers are nervous. So some of us will be eaten. 2 soldiers went green. Some of us will be crushed in wicked claws. The lucky ones among us will have our heads bitten off in one snap of the creature's ferocious jaws. The rest will die slow, gruesome deaths. A pale-faced man collapsed in a faint. So this bit in the middle, or that bit at the top actually, is speech from Beowulf, and this bit is speech from Beowulf. So it has to be something other than the speech, because otherwise it wouldn't be telling us that they would be feeling nervous. So what I would choose to put is, I might start with the phrase actually, or words, and then follow on. So I would put 2 soldiers went green, tells us the soldiers are nervous. Or the other option, a pale-faced man collapsed in a faint, tells us the soldiers were nervous. Okay, and that is it. So if you went along with my questions, you can tick them all because they're all correct. And if you did your own, hopefully you've listened to those answers and you can tick them off as well. Okay, there is one last bit for the plenary. Have a look at these and see if you can pick out any examples of alliteration. So that's examples where the letter sound of each word begins with the same, the beginning of each word begins with the same letter sound. So defeating devils would be one. I don't think there are any tricky ones here. Have a look and see if there are any others where you've got repeating letter sounds in the phrase of words. Pause me now and we'll just go through it in a second. Okay, so we've got defeating devils. We've got feeble reply. That's not one because we've got and an and then boldest of the bold. There is a bit there. It is quite good. It's more of a repetition, which gives the effect. Pale faced man, no, we've just got an A sound there. Swimming with sea monsters, yes. S and S. And beating beast, yes. Perfect. Well, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Hope you enjoyed the science this morning. And I will speak to you tomorrow. Take care, year 4. Bye.